constitution. This is my exhibition, Rainbow Serpent Psychic Skins. So, a lot of ancient human cultures had mythologies around serpents as a creation myth, and I suppose through my own license as an artist, I'm trying to talk about creation using myth and personal process as a launching point, as a metaphor for what science is talking about in terms of energy, information. To me, Rainbow Serpent is a way of conceiving of life and consciousness. And what an artist does is go into himself, he goes into his culture, he goes into his history, and the process starts becoming more about belief, origin. Fuck, wanky talk. Everything is encompassed. I've made this so you can poke in every dimension. I have not edited, and yet I have constructed narrative is subsumed by the psychogeography. I am placing Rainbow Serpent inside a Pacific context of creation story, but also in a kind of shanty village, what is to come, apocalyptic sense of human survival at the threshold of our potentialities and dangers. So the myth of artist also has always worked on these edges, these peripheries, these revelation or psychosis. Rainbow is light. Serpent is energy. I suppose in another way this work is gesturing towards other popular spiritual ideas. What happens to the soul after death? What happens to the mind, the consciousness, the me that is not my body? So many people have purported to having a download, a 360 life review of all instances, or that the character that they call themselves is involved in interactions with others. And I suppose I'm equating apocalypse and a human transformation event, or in fact time that we're already in. And I'm trying to, what happens to all of our consciousnesses should we suddenly not be here? What happens to the metamorphosis of a collective race's memory? Sure, I believe in nihilistic voids of nothingness. I believe in death. But I do believe that energy just changes. So I've tried to, through my own personal artistic process and my projection of self onto the whole, from the bottom of the world, paintings from the end of the world, what I've tried to do is multiply talk about everything that interests me simultaneously. Look, space junk flying in the stratosphere. Look, a book, a ledger, God's ledger, or just a piece of shit I found on the road. Look, a piece of a tape measure. Do you measure up? Am I talking about Fukushima and this irradiated sludge that's congealed? And what song lyric did these words come from? This thing is saturated, and all of it has come from a byproduct of process. Like a mystical revolutionary. To not pin the work down to being one thing is good. But some of my core stuff as a person, about who am I, where do I belong, what is my identity to here, what is the loss, what is the privilege, all the way down to the spiral galaxy of the dust from sweeping up the floor after. Over here is the rest of the skins that I hadn't able to put on the wall. I have left them in the gallery as dormant potential. Maybe even a little symbol of abandonment or post-show burnout. I just wanted to show how art can be this terribly futile, meaningless, self-absorbed thing, as well as the grandiose. So this is Dunedin Art School Gallery. I'm very lucky to have be showing in this space, and there's a performance evening with invited friends to respond to the work. It's the subject I'm interested in, you know. I'm trying to talk about life. I'm trying to talk about life on the planet. I'm trying to talk about the fulcrum of our moment in history. This is something that we all have to think about. Climate change, overpopulation, fiddling with genetics, the genome itself. So identity politics, and this thing here could be some kind of analog feral refugee experimental art CAD version of the DNA genetic coil, or at least 1/1000th of it. I've made the work so you can look in any little crevice and there's something there. A lot of that just happens because there's something everywhere, if you notice. It's about an attitude of life, noticing yourself, noticing, and then subject and information is just in everything. All you can be is yourself in the recording, and perpetually offer, disgorge, show, accumulate, discard, edit. My editing process tends to be a saturation process. I'm sure alchemists of old would have some kind of equivalent. I tend not to want to let go of anything, and yet let it settle into its own identity, a little bit like maybe how planets would form in dust. You know, everything just changes, nothing goes away. Anyway, I could talk about my work for a long time, being the self-absorbed. Just, I found that little guy in an op shop. Anonymous Maori glue sniffer, source field glory. Kia ora.